Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Life in Between the Lines. I'm your host, Allison. So glad you came back. Today, I'm going to be talking about one of the key things that Jesus taught me. I flipped a switch in my brain to finally coming to know Jesus. I'm working a little backwards. So I know that last episode I shared the gospel, and before that I told the story of me actually giving my life to Christ. But I kind of wanted to go back a little further before that, before I continue to go on. So two-ish years where I was just slowly growing in my relationship with the Lord to then finally surrendering. Those were very pivotal years. Although I was extremely lukewarm, I think what I learned and the way that Jesus was able to just flip my way of thinking and change the way that I saw the world and change the way that I lived. I think without making that decision and without that first step, none of this would have happened. So I kind of want to share my first step in my relationship with Jesus and the one decision that I made that really laid the foundation for life moving forward. And I still try to see everything through the lens of this today. It was useful then and it's useful now, and it will still be useful because this is a truth, a biblical truth from Jesus that he revealed to me that then changed the way I see the world and the way that I live. So I want to share that with you guys. I think me sharing my story will be really helpful for you guys. So that's what I want to do. Believe it or not, all my life up until about a year and a half ago, I was an athlete. I played soccer all growing up in high school and college, and then now graduating college, I don't play anymore. So sports was my whole life. And it's so weird because I feel like I've completely detached soccer and athletics from my identity now, which may make sense as to why I'm telling this story. I may be overcompensating in a way. It's just so crazy to think about. This once was my whole entire life. So my story is going to center around soccer and specifically my experience in college athletics. But you don't have to be an athlete to listen to this by any means. This is just how the Lord revealed this to me because soccer was a huge part of my life, and he'll speak to you through whatever is a huge part of your life. So it has nothing to do with sports necessarily. So even if sports isn't your thing, you can just substitute your thing for my thing and still listen to my story. So soccer was my whole life. It got really competitive really quickly. I'm from Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati soccer is really good, but I know soccer is really good everywhere, and everywhere. Youth sports in general has just blown up into, I don't even know, it's really insane now, youth sports, and just the commitment that it is. Growing up, soccer was a very big thing. It was a very big commitment, and starting at 10, and then really when I was 13, it's all right, you're traveling all across the country for this sport, and you always knew you're gonna play in college, especially just the environment that I was in. I don't know if it had to do with city specific, soccer was just big and good in where I'm from. If you were playing club soccer growing up, you knew you were going to play in college. It wasn't oh, am I going to play in college or not? It's where am I going to play in college? Am I going to play at a Power 5? Or I don't know. That was just always the expectation. And I wouldn't say my parents put that on me. And I don't know if my teammates, I've never talked to them about this. I don't know if their parents instilled that in them at a young age, but it was just kind of the expectation. You play at a really good club, you play in a good league, and then you'll play in college. And then I don't know. I'm sure a lot of, I never wanted to be a professional soccer player, even when I was younger, which is kind of weird because why would I not want to? But I'm sure a lot of people wanted to play professionally, and there's some girls that I played with growing up that play professionally now. So it's not out of the picture by any means. For at least my story, college soccer was a non-negotiable. That was going to happen. And I'm 13 knowing I'm going to play in college. And it was very normal. It was very normal. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Soccer was always just the priority. It took priority over school. It took priority over hanging out with friends. But then, my friends became my teammates. So that wasn't a big deal at all. I didn't feel I was lacking. But soccer was always the priority. And I could always justify that because it was going to pay for college. So I was oh, cool. I mean, I had no problem with it. But I think just I would miss a lot of school because I would be traveling to a showcase and have to leave on a Wednesday because we're going to go to Florida that day. And I got to travel on this day. Whatever. It was a big commitment, and it was always number one priority. My games took priority over my family. Luckily my brothers didn't play competitive sports, but I don't know what we would have done. I can't imagine some of my teammates, their whole family is so athletic, and they had so many different commitments. I can't even imagine the life of those parents. But I was the only one who played competitive sports growing up. So, if I had a game on Sunday, which a lot of times I did, we didn't go to church. Soccer was the priority, and I just believed that. I never noticed it was an issue, not the issue of it being time consuming, more of just me not recognizing the idol that it had become in my life. And this is I'm growing up. This is middle school, high school. I didn't know God at all. I didn't know what idols were. So I didn't know this, but college, it became very evident. So My freshman year of college, that was COVID year. So our season was shortened. So we only had 10 games and it got moved to the spring. So it was just kind of like a weird time, but I ended up getting hurt like right before. And like, it wasn't like a terrible injury. It was my back. So I didn't have like surgery. Nothing like terribly went wrong, but it was just like a nerve was pinched in my back. So I like couldn't play that season, but like I was fine. It was 10 games. I was a freshman, whatever. I had time. So I had never been injured before, but it honestly didn't take that big of a mental toll on me. Freshman year, I was just like, my priorities were like not in the right place. So like I didn't care that I wasn't playing soccer. I was just more caught up in like the college experience. So honestly, like I know a lot of people like they struggle with injuries because now you're no longer able to do the thing that you've done and loved your whole life. For some reason, I just didn't have that. Is because I prioritized like partying and making friends in college over like soccer, which is like horrible as a college athlete, but I just didn't mind that I didn't play. It was like a weird season to me anyways. I was like, whatever, I'll play in the fall. So summer comes around, my back is a lot better. So I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go for the fall. And then the fall season rolls around and my coach is not putting me in. I'm not playing. And that messed with me so bad. Oh my goodness. If you are listening and you are a college athlete and you are struggling with playing time, oh my gosh, I understand and I feel for you so much. So much. And it's something that only people who don't play understand. Like if you play on the field, love you, great for you, but you don't understand the toll that it takes. And you don't understand what a mental battle it is. I understand you. And if you do play, you can still listen to this because this has nothing to do with playing and not playing. So I wasn't playing and like a few games had gone by. I was like, okay, maybe he's just like trying out. He was trying out like new formations. He was plugging players in like different positions. And I was like, my time is going to come. And I think it had been like maybe 4 games into the season and I was just completely devastated. I was so ready. Like obviously you play soccer your whole life. Like you grow up playing and being one of the best in the city or on your club team. And then you get to college and it's like, yeah, everyone was the best on their team. Like who's going to play now? And like there's always going to be people that don't play on a team, but you just never expect it to be you. And it sucks when it is you. So a few games had gone by and I wasn't playing and I was just like, I didn't know what to do with this. Like I was so distraught and I was so upset and I had no idea like how to cope. I didn't know how to make myself feel better at all. I dreaded every single day. Like I didn't want to go to practice. I didn't want to go to games. I thought it was all a waste. Like I just start like completely spiraling in ways that had nothing to do with soccer. I start questioning my worth. I start thinking like literally why am I here? Like what am I doing? What is the purpose of anything? I hate waking up. I hate going to practice. I hate doing everything. My whole day sucks. I didn't want to do anything. I was so unmotivated. I was complaining. I was just like miserable and it was affecting so much more than just soccer. And again, this is before I knew Jesus, but I was still like before Jesus, I was still like a very outgoing, positive person. Like I was always pretty optimistic, but my attitude started to get so bad, so visibly bad. And I knew that. I didn't know how bad it got, but like I knew I was miserable. And it's like I almost wanted everyone else to know I was miserable too. And I just wasn't even making an effort to be happy at all. I was showing up at practice every day, like literally not even smiling, just like going through the motions, but just dragging. Like I was making myself miserable and just feeding into this misery and this self-destruction. And I wasn't even thinking about others whatsoever. Like I was just so caught up in myself. I was only thinking about me and how my coach was just like ruining my life, ruining my college experience, like ruining my soccer career, like making me hate the sport again. I'm putting all this blame on my coaching staff when I'm choosing to be miserable. And I had never like done this before in my life. Like there had been things go wrong, but I had never like fed into this misery like I did my sophomore soccer season. My camera loves to just randomly stop on me, so that's awesome. Anyway, my attitude had gotten pretty noticeably bad, and so my coach had a meeting with me. He's coming at it the right way. He's just asking me like, what's going on? Like literally what happened? What is wrong with you? Why are you acting like this? And of course I got defensive and I did not take his concern well. Anytime I met with my coach, I either started or ended in tears. Like there was never a normal conversation. And that was always like a running joke on our teams. Like, oh gosh, you have a one-on-one, like you're going to cry. Whether it's good or bad, like, I don't know. It's just so emotional. I don't know how to, so funny. so in the meeting, like, he's asking me what's going wrong, and I'm just being like very short, like, still bad attitude. Like, I'm coming from a place of like anger instead of hurt, and I'm just like, nothing's wrong. I don't know, blah, blah, blah. I'm just not giving him anything. And I gave him no choice, but he had to like discipline me. And he was like, all right, well, if you don't fix what's going on, like, we don't want you. And I was like, what? Could not believe this. I honestly don't even remember my reaction. I probably got really defensive, not like outwardly to him, but like I think internally I got super defensive because I was like, how are you going to get mad at me for this bad attitude when you're the one causing it? Just put me on the field and then everything will be better. You want me to get rid of my bad attitude? Give me playing time. Put me on the field. This is how you fix the bad attitude. And I just like I wasn't accepting his discipline and his correction. And I was just like, no, I have every right to feel this way that I'm feeling. Like, I felt so entitled to my horrible emotions, even though I was miserable. It was like ruining my quality of life. It was ruining my self-esteem. It was like ruining the way that I saw everything, but I'm still like not willing to change anything about it. Me and my coach are like, we're good now, obviously. But he wasn't like threatening to kick me off the team, but he was just like, this has to change. And it has gotten bad. I notice it. Everyone notices it. Your teammates notice it. You need to fix this. Like, do not ruin this season. Because it was still early in the season. He was like, don't ruin this for everyone else, basically. And I was just not accepting that. I was like, nope, you're ruining it for me. It's actually a you problem. It's not a me problem. So didn't really get anywhere with that. But it did, like, I was like, low key, like, he's so right. But like, no. And that was my head coach that I met with. And my assistant coach calls me. I'm like leaving. My assistant coach calls me into his room. And he also asks me like, what's going on? And I just had so many emotions built up from my meeting with my head coach and then with my assistant coach. I just lose it. I just like burst out into tears. I'm sobbing. I'm like literally a mess, like drool, snot, just like disgusting. And he's just like this 26-year-old guy. And he's like, what? I was angry and mad in the last meeting. And this one, I was just like hurt. And I finally let myself be hurt and be sad rather than just like masking everything with anger. And I just like cried and told him, I was like, I came here to play soccer. Like, what am I doing in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky? Like, I came here to play soccer. Like, I could have gone to college. I could have lived the sorority girl life. I could have gone wherever I wanted, but I chose to come here to play soccer because I thought that I was going to have an amazing soccer career here. I'm here for soccer. I'm not even playing. So why am I here? I don't like the campus. I don't like the school. I'm just being so negative. None of it's true. Like, I'm a colonel, what is it called? I'm an eternal colonel. But at this point, I'm just like, I hate everything. I hate my life. And he's just like not understanding why I'm upset. And I was like, I came here to play soccer and I'm not playing soccer. So what am I doing here? What do you not understand about that? And he is like not grasping it. And I just keep talking about like, I feel like I deserve to be on the field. I want to be on this field. Like, I'm coming at it this wrong way, but I'm just like, you know what? He's not even my head coach. I'm just going to let him know exactly how I feel. And like, I had no filter at this point, just so many emotions built up. And I just let it all out on this young man. And he was doing the best that he could to console me. It's also not his job to make me feel better. But he was just like, I just don't understand why you're so upset over this. And of course, that made me more upset. And I was like, what do you not get? What do you not get? Like, I've worked my whole life for this. The whole goal of everything was to play soccer in college. And I'm sitting on the bench doing nothing, contributing nothing. And, you know, he gave me the spiel, which is true, but I wasn't ready to hear it at the time. He's like, it's so much more than just like playing, like be a good teammate. Like, you're still practicing. You're still able to support your team. You're able to travel to different states. You're able to have like weekends with your best friends, like in hotels. Like, there's so much more to soccer and to the college athletics experience than actually playing. Like, think of all those good things. And I didn't want to hear it. I was like, all I care about is playing time. I want it. You guys are not giving it to me. I hate it here. Little did I know, I didn't even know what I was sad about. And I kept thinking, this has to do with playing time. I'm not playing. Once I play, this will fix everything. And I thought that's what everything was rooted in. And it wasn't. And I wasn't able to vocalize it at this point because I didn't understand. But I wasn't upset about the playing time. I was upset because I had put my whole identity into this thing and it was failing me. And I did not know how to carry on. Like, I did not know how to pivot. There was no way around it other than to be miserable and make everyone else miserable around me. I was living with 3 other girls and they were all playing at the time. And, you know, I'm thinking that this has to do with playing time. And not realizing that it's an identity issue. I just isolated myself and I was like, they don't understand what I'm going through. Like, they don't understand the toll that it takes on you to just be everyone's cheerleader and never getting cheered on. I wasn't even being a cheerleader. But I just isolated myself from everyone because I was like, they don't understand, like, they don't get it. And I thought only if you didn't get playing time, you could understand me, when there was other people who weren't playing and they had the best attitude and they were the best teammates. And I was like, I don't even know how in the world you're able to do that, because their identity was not in soccer. And God used my isolation to pull me to himself. There were no other voices but the lies in my mind and what Jesus was telling me. And so, you know, when you're like at your rock bottom, I don't know if I consider this my rock bottom, but you're like, all right, I got nowhere else to go but become religious, which I don't like the word religious and whatever. But so then I started putting myself in like Christian circles. So going to FCA, thank God, praise God for FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Started going to FCA and it spoke to my situation. I was like, there's other people here who are in my situation who are dealing with it completely different than I am. They're not playing, yet they have joy and they're able to celebrate others and be happy for others. They're living in such a selfless way that I'm just not able to do. Why can they do this and I can't? And I didn't know that it was Jesus. And so just being surrounded in these Christian circles with all these good influences and hearing their testimonies on how Jesus freed them from the opinions of their coaches, approval of their coaches and their teammates, and their identity in sports. And they just show me for the first time ever that I don't have to live that way, and that I had been choosing to live this way and to see things this way and see myself this way when there's another better way. It wasn't until I like understood the gospel that it clicked for me. And I'm so thankful at how fast things were able to change for me. Things completely shifted within like a matter of weeks, because I was able to hold to the truth that while we were sinners, Christ died for me, and that because he did that, I can apply that to every area of my life and it still remains the same. And by going to FCA and realizing that Jesus is not this religious figure, but he's a friend who wants to be active in my life, and I'm choosing to only experience him on Sundays or when I want to put myself in a Christian setting, I realized that Jesus wants every part of me, that he's not just here for faith and like spiritual things, but that he wants to help with my situation in soccer, and he wants to help me in school, and he wants to help me with any family issues or any friend issues or any relationship issues. Like, Jesus wants to be active and involved in every single area of our life, not just the faith aspect. Like, our faith should be the foundation. Your relationship with Christ should be the foundation for everything in your life, not just your faith. And so when I stopped putting Jesus in a box, and I was like, I was just so desperate for healing, and I just like prayed a prayer of surrender in this area of my life. I was like, Jesus, I need you so bad. Like, I need help. I'm like gotten to the point where I don't want to live like this anymore. I'm so miserable and I'm making everyone else miserable around me. Like, I wasn't losing friends, but like I could tell I was not enjoyable to be around. I was like, Jesus, that I can't live like this. Like, I need your help. I need your healing. However you can do that and want to do that, I desperately need you. So I opened myself up to finally being healed by the Lord. When I asked for healing, it's like he's going to heal the root of the problem. So I didn't get put on the field. And then he was like, here, that's all that it was. He had to reveal to me that it was an identity issue, that my identity had been fully put in this thing. And maybe it wasn't my fault because I wasn't told that my identity should be in Christ, or that it can be, or that it doesn't have to be the thing you're doing most in your life. Like, soccer took up the most of my mental space and time and like energy doing. But just because it's a huge part of your life doesn't mean it has to be your life and be your identity. My identity was in my performance. And Jesus revealed that to me. And that really shook me, because I thought it was just my identity in soccer and sports. But I was still a soccer player. I was still a college soccer player. I was on the team. Like, I still had that identity, but that wasn't good enough for me because I wasn't playing. And my coaches didn't think I'm good. And my teammates probably didn't think I'm good. So I was like, it must be deeper than this. And the Lord revealed to me that not only is your identity in sports and who you are as an athlete, but it's in your performance as an athlete, which is a huge part of being an athlete, is how you're performing. Like, it is a very performance-based thing. When the Lord taught me that, I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. So when I'm sobbing to my coach's room saying, I came here to play soccer and I'm not playing soccer, so like, I feel like I'm worthless. I feel like no one likes me. It's like, he was so confused where I was pulling these things from, because he was like, I thought you just wanted to know how to get on the field. Like, I can tell you. My coach gave me very specific, like, soccer, like, technical things to work on. And to me, like, I was like, that you're missing the point here. But from what I was saying, if the problem was playing time, then he's going to help me work on my technical abilities to then get playing time. But it was so much deeper than that. And that's why, like, we were having two different conversations, because I didn't realize that it was an identity issue and a performance issue and like a worth-based issue. He's telling me these things and I'm like, that's not going to fix the issue. And I knew that. I just didn't dig deeper to find out what the true issue is. It made sense why now I was feeling worthless as a person when I wasn't playing. My performance has nothing to do with me as a person. So like, why am I letting it affect me like that? But again, if that is where I find my value and my worth as a human, then when that's taken away, I do have no value and I do have no worth through my eyes. Obviously, that's not true, but if that is the way that you see things, then that's the way it will feel. And when the Lord revealed that to me, I was like ready to go. I was like, okay, I don't want this. I don't want this. Like, I want to feel good about myself. Like, I'm not one who likes to sit in the sadness. I know like that sounds contradictory to everything I was saying before, but I was acting so like out of character and that was not me. And I like finally was like, okay, I'm starting to pray. I'm starting to understand the Bible. I understand the gospel more. Like I feel so much better when I'm talking to Jesus and when I'm close with Jesus. Like I want this. So when he told me that this was a performance-based issue, that I was putting my worth in my performance, that I was putting my worth in being an athlete and how other people were seeing me and the approval and opinions of others, I was like, okay, I don't want to do that. So what do I do? He was like, your worth is in me and who I say you are. And I was like, okay. Like, okay, is it really that easy? But I was so desperate for something. I was like, I guess I'm going to choose to believe you because I don't want to live like this. So if you say there's an easier, better way, then I'll do it. And Jesus just slowly kept revealing to me, and through FCA and through other people's testimonies and through reading the Bible and just understanding God's character more, I was like, wait, so you say that I am chosen, that I am worthy, that I am accepted, that I am loved, no matter what I do, all the time. And it honestly makes sense why I thought that in regard to my sport, because in my faith as well, I didn't have a super active faith, but in the little faith that I did have, I just thought that if I did good enough or was good enough, then I would earn God's love. And so the gospel, it's like when I say Jesus will change your life and the gospel will change how you live and it will change everything about you, it's because when you live your life based on the truth of the gospel, when the gospel is the foundation for the way that you live and see yourself and see others, it will flood into every single area of your life. And this is how it did for soccer, because it's like, how does Jesus saving me give me a better attitude and change the way that my sport is going? Like, they seem completely unrelated. But when I realized that the truth of the gospel was that there's nothing I can do to save myself and that I don't have to be good enough or do good enough to earn God's love and for him to choose to love me, and I'm not going to heaven based off of what I do. Like, Jesus is not a performance-based God. Our performance and our works have nothing to do with how Jesus feels about us. And so when I understood the true gospel, that it's not about what I do, but it's about what he did, and that's not changing, I understood and I believed and I knew that I am loved, that I am chosen, that I am secure, that I am accepted, that I am valuable, and that I am worthy of this love. Again, not because of anything I can do, but because he says so. And what he says is not changing. If God is the one who made me and he says that I am worthy because I am a human made in his image, then that's that. And I believed that, and I wanted to believe that. Like, who wouldn't want to believe that? When I understood the gospel, which it looks like it's doing nothing to then relate to my sport and help my sport, but understanding the gospel and that just reframing the way that I lived and saw the world and saw others and saw myself, I was like, oh my gosh, this is how soccer is going to get better. It's difficult as an athlete because it's very performance-based. And so I had saw my whole life. I thought everyone viewed me based off of my performance. Like in school, if I don't get straight A's, then I'm stupid and worthless. Like my whole life was just performance-based worth. Then Jesus comes around and changes everything about how I live and says, nope, it's already done. You already are everything that you're searching for. You're already worthy. You're already loved. Your worth is in who I say you are, which is written and not going anywhere. Whether you like it or not, you are worthy because I have made you worthy, because I have purchased you. Your life was bought with a high price through his sacrifice. So like, I can't even take my worth away if I tried. Like, I am worthy because of Jesus, because he chose to make me in his image. So then I started to apply that in soccer. And I was like, all right, I can't count on my teammates' opinions or my coach's opinions or even my opinion of myself to go about my day. And I can't base my worth on what they say that I am, because that changes. And I'm going to change. Like, if I feel ugly that day, then I'm worthless. And if I feel pretty that day, then I'm like, no. I craved something steady. When Jesus came around and was that steady love, I was like, okay, so then I'm only playing for Jesus, because guess what? If I have the worst practice in the world, if I score an own goal, he still loves me, and the way that he thinks of me does not change. Oh my gosh, I felt so free. I was like, how silly to think that if I have a bad game, Jesus doesn't love me. Like, that's not even, that, like, I can't even entertain that thought, because that's so absurd. Like, me playing bad or me having a bad practice. Oh, now Jesus doesn't want me. Now Jesus says I'm not his daughter. Like, that's absolutely insane. And so I fully was like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I know and I believe that who I am in Jesus doesn't change based off of how good or how bad I am at soccer. And now I can walk in freedom. Now I know whether I have a good practice, bad practice, lift the most amount of weight, the least amount of weight, and the first in the fitness test or the last in the fitness test, who God says I am stays the same. And this is not a determining factor for his love. And what do you know? I start playing a lot better. My mood starts getting better. I'm just living a better life because my self-esteem is so much better. I don't have to go destroy myself mentally the rest of the day after practice if I had a bad practice. If I fell over the ball and had a horrible mistake and I think, oh, this is costing me playing time. Like, now I'm definitely not going to play this weekend because I just gave up an own goal in practice. Like, I didn't have to worry about that because I just didn't care about their opinions anymore, because I was like, the only person whose opinion that matters is the one who made me. Like, I'm not standing before my coach on Judgment Day. I'm not standing before my teammates. Like, they're not the one who decides where I go for eternity. So I actually don't care what they think of me. I only care what God thinks of me. And guess what? My soccer performance has nothing to do with that. I do want to share with you guys the verse that I wrote on my locker, and I would write it on my wrist every single game day. It's Galatians 1:10. Obviously, I'm not trying to win the approval of people, but of God. If pleasing people were my goal, I would not be Christ's servant. And that verse was my everything. The second I would fall back into putting my identity in my performance and my worth into how I was doing, I just had to read this and remind myself, I'm not trying to win the approval of others. I'm trying to win the approval of God. And if I was trying to win the approval of others, I could not be Christ's servant. I'm serving Christ. I want God's approval at the end of the day. Yes, it's so nice to have man's approval. It's so nice when your coach thinks highly of you. It's so nice when your teammates think highly of you. It's nice when you think highly of yourself. But at the end of the day, we're not trying to win that approval because we might never get it. It's constantly fluctuating. Humans are too inconsistent, but Christ's love is so consistent and so steady. So what do you know? My attitude gets better because I stopped trying to perform for others. You know, audience of one, AO1. It's really true. Like, I'm going to play for God and I'm going to be happy with my performance after, because I've said it a million times, but whether I play good or bad, he's looking at me like, I'm so proud of you. And that's what I just had to picture. I had to picture Jesus in the stands just being like, I am so proud of you just for playing. I'm proud of you for, oh my gosh, I'm going to start crying. Whoa. That came out of nowhere. I almost started crying. Sorry, I never talk about soccer anymore. Again, I think it's me overcompensating by fully trying to put my identity and worth in Christ, that I've just thrown everything else out. But I just remember I would play and practice because I wasn't getting into the game, but at practice, you could see the bleachers, and I would just imagine Jesus sitting there. And when I would mess up, I would always look over to the blank bleachers where there's no one there, but I'm picturing Jesus. And he is just clapping for me and telling me that he's proud of me. And it's just keep going. Just keep going. It doesn't matter. I don't think poorly of you. I don't think anything different of you. And I would just be okay, I'm going to keep trying. Because before I would just destroy myself mentally. I would make one mistake and just tell myself, oh my gosh, you're worthless. You just ruined the whole season. You're never going to play. This is why everyone thinks you suck. Your coach saw that. Just tear myself down. And I couldn't escape that. I didn't know how to get out of that mindset. And I just imagined literally looking to Jesus and him telling me it doesn't matter. It's okay. Get up and try again. And I needed Jesus to tell me that, because I couldn't I couldn't tell myself that. I just fully believed that his love is unwavering, and that it was so silly to even think that because I make a mistake, he's going to bench me. Like, no, I'm on his team forever. I'm on his team forever. After, I started playing freely and I started playing for Jesus and I stopped caring about the opinions of others, I start playing better. I become a better teammate. I have a better attitude. I see myself better. It just changed the way that I lived in so many ways. And naturally, I start playing. And I feel like God couldn't give me that playing time until I was able to receive it and steward it correctly. But he gave me that playing time when I was able to not idolize it and to just play freely, live freely, and be happy. No matter if I got in the game for the last 3 minutes of the game or started the game, I was just happy to be on the field and to play for Jesus. So obviously my story is like highly rooted in lack of playing time, but this can apply to you even if you're not an athlete. But no matter where you are, athlete or not, playing a lot or not, just know that your identity is in Christ and that is unwavering, and that we have to get out of our minds that our performance is a determining factor for Christ's love. It may be a determining factor for someone else's love, but they don't have perfect love like Jesus does. If you're ever questioning your worth, just ask Jesus what he says about you. Whew! I did not mean to get like emotional. I thought I would be totally fine talking about this, but I hope so much that this can help someone going through a similar situation. Or if you're like a retired athlete and this is like years ago and this has been unhealed and just like an open wound, I pray that you can think back to this and have Jesus change the way that you saw yourself and can heal any part of you that's still hurt as an athlete. I just really hope that this can help someone, because it's difficult. It's difficult when you've put your whole worth in something and it fails you and you feel like you have nowhere else to go but Jesus, but that's the best and safest place you can turn to. Let him heal you. Okay, I think that's enough for today. But thank you again for listening. Thank you so much for all the support this far. I love doing this. Like, I love yapping about Jesus, and I love being able to help others and comfort others through the way that God has comforted me. So if this has helped you in any way, I would love to hear about it. And I'll see you guys next week. Love you. Bye.